I remember the first time I held my baby girl in my arms, a tiny bundle of joy that changed everything. She was so small, so fragile, and yet, in that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of love and responsibility wash over me. But as the days turned into weeks and then months, I quickly learned that motherhood was a beautiful yet exhausting journey. Now, at 6 months old, my little one had developed a routine, one that revolved around nursing and co sleeping. Every night, she would latch on, her tiny fingers curling around mine, and drift off to sleep. It was a precious moment, one that I cherished deeply. But as much as I loved those quiet nights, I also craved a sliver of time for myself, a moment to wash away the day and breathe. I had always been someone who found solace in the shower. The warm water cascading over my skin felt like a gentle hug, washing away the stress and fatigue of the day. It was my little sanctuary, a place where I could think, reflect, and just be. But now, as a new mom, that sanctuary felt like a distant memory. I would often find myself juggling my responsibilities. After nursing her to sleep, I'd try to tidy up the house, do the dishes, and prepare for the next day. But lately, my daughter had started waking up after just 45 minutes, crying for me, needing to be settled back down. It was a cycle that felt relentless, and I was beginning to feel the weight of it all. One evening, after a long day of caring for her, I finally managed to get her to sleep. My heart raced with anticipation as I tiptoed out of the room, ready to indulge in my nightly ritual. I knew I had about 45 minutes before she would likely wake up again, so I hurried to the bathroom, letting the warm water fill the tub. But just as I began to relax, I heard the unmistakable sound of barking from my boyfriend's dog. Panic surged through me. I knew that sound all too well. It was the sound that meant my daughter would wake up, and sure enough, I heard her soft cries echoing through the house. I felt a wave of frustration wash over me as I quickly turned off the water and rushed out of the shower, my heart pounding in my chest. I scooped her up, cradling her against my chest, and tried to soothe her back to sleep. As I rocked her gently, I couldn't help but feel a sense of injustice. Why was it always me? Why was I the one who had to sacrifice my moments of peace? I glanced over at my boyfriend, who was still in the living room, oblivious to the chaos unfolding. When I finally managed to settle her back down, I felt a mix of exhaustion and resentment. I wanted to scream, to tell him how unfair it felt that I was the only one who seemed to understand the delicate balance of our nightly routine. After all, he was the one who had suggested getting a dog, and now that same dog was disrupting our fragile peace. Later that night, as we lay in bed, I couldn't hold back any longer. "I need to shower at night," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. "It's the only time I can have for myself. I can't do it during the day when I'm alone with her." He looked at me, his brow furrowed in confusion. "But she always wakes up when you shower. You need to figure out a different time," he replied, his tone matter of fact. I felt a surge of anger rise within me. It's not fair that I have to change everything about my routine just because she wakes up. You need to help me with her. It's not just my responsibility." His expression shifted, and I could see the gears turning in his mind. "I'm trying to help, but you need to be more flexible. Maybe you can shower during the day when I'm home." The frustration bubbled over. "But you don't understand. I need that time to unwind. I need to feel like myself again." We went back and forth, each of us digging our heels in, and I could feel the tension rising between us. I wanted him to understand my perspective, to see how desperately I needed that time for myself. But all he could see was the baby waking up, and the chaos that ensued. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself caught in a cycle of guilt and frustration. I felt like I was constantly battling for my own needs while trying to be the best mother I could be. Every time I tried to take a shower, I felt like I was being pulled back into the chaos of motherhood, and it was suffocating. I would stand in the shower, the water cascading over me, and I would close my eyes, trying to find that moment of peace. But it was always interrupted by the sound of my daughter's cries, and I would have to rush out, dripping wet and defeated. I began to resent the very thing that had once brought me comfort. The shower, which had been my sanctuary, now felt like a battleground. I was torn between my need for self care and my responsibilities as a mother. One night, after another failed attempt at showering, I sat on the edge of the bed, tears streaming down my face. I felt so alone, so overwhelmed. I wanted to be a good mother, but I also wanted to take care of myself. Was that too much to ask? I thought about my boyfriend and how he seemed to be oblivious to my struggles. I wanted him to understand that I wasn't just being selfish. I was trying to find a balance. I needed him to step up, to share the load, but every time I brought it up, it felt like I was met with resistance. That night, I decided to have a heart to heart with him. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the conversation. I need you to understand how hard this is for me, I said, my voice trembling. I love our daughter more than anything, but I also need to take care of myself. I can't keep sacrificing my needs. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of understanding in his eyes. I didn't realize how much this was affecting you, he admitted. I thought I was helping by suggesting you shower during the day. I felt a glimmer of hope. I just need you to be more involved. I can't do this alone. It's not fair that I'm the only one who can settle her at night. He nodded, and I could see the gears turning in his mind. Okay, let's figure this out together. I'll help more at night so you can have your time. In that moment, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a step in the right direction. I realized that communication was key, and I needed to express my needs without feeling guilty. As the days went by, I started to reclaim my nightly showers. With my boyfriend stepping up, I felt more at ease, knowing that I could take that time for myself without the constant worry of my daughter waking up. I learned that it was okay to prioritize my own well being, that taking care of myself didn't make me a bad mother. In fact, it made me a better one. I was more present, more patient, and more loving. Motherhood is a journey filled with ups and downs, and I realized that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to carve out time for myself, even if it means navigating the challenges that come with it. As I stood in the shower that night, the warm water enveloping me, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I felt a sense of peace wash over me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was finding my balance again. I had learned that it's not unreasonable to want to keep my nightly shower routine as a new mom. It's a vital part of who I am, and I deserve that time just as much as anyone else. Subscribe for more stories.